Hi everyone! It's time for a monthly review and it's time to show you pictures which I finished in April. My April started with a sweet Easter picture from Swedish coloring book Sagor och Sakner by Emily Linderhoff, and I decided to tell you which parts of each picture I liked and which parts I would like to improve. So here I am not very happy with the background. I tried to use acrylic paint with the stencil and it didn't end very well. But I am happy with the cup and with the birds. And I love fresh yellow-green colors which I selected for the greens. I really enjoy this book with each picture. But I have a terrible habit. I have a habit to test new art supplies on the title pages of my book. I know that it's not wise and it's the best way to mess up with the first page in your book, but here I started to play with my new Neocolor water-soluble pastels. I did it very quickly, but I don't know whether it will be possible for me to make a decent first page of this book, but we will see in the next months. So, my next book was Maria Trolle. It's her third book, which in English has a name Nightfall, and I did two pictures. I call this girl Flora, and I'm really happy with her green hairs. Again, very fresh, very spring color. And I choose this picture because first I love dahlias, even if they are not spring but summer flowers. And then I really like this cute rabbit, and I'm happy how I colored it. Maybe my background here isn't very interesting, but I think it still has some spring air, so I think that this is a nice picture. Another one from the same book. Here my preferences are this squirrel and this branch of cherry flowers, or maybe it's an apple flowers. Of course, I wasn't very creative with the background. I just used soft pastels in my favorite colors, but I think that this background complements these pictures with a lot of details, so it's nice spring evening for me. And I'm also glad that even if I did one page just after another, my goals look completely different. I think that Girls from Maria Trolle book are a nice beginning if you want to learn how to color faces. There are a lot of portraits in this book and they are a little bit simpler than girls in Hannah Carson book, for example. Next one is the page which I did completely with watercolors, and I must confess that I am proud of it. I consider this picture one of my best successes so far in coloring with watercolors. It was my first attempt of coloring animals, and I am quite satisfied how my buffalo looks. I am happy with my decision of the color palette, with my coloring of the leaves, and especially with the shadow here. One thing that I maybe had to add is some bushes or trees for the background, but I was so afraid to mess it up after I colored this buffalo, so I decided to leave it as it is, and I am really happy. I also used here my new grainer brushes especially for coloring fur, and it was also very interesting experience and they were very helpful. Next page I did for the color contest dedicated to space, and of course I selected Star Trek coloring book. I did the sky mostly using gouache paints, and I also used this picture in creating my video about difference between watercolors, acrylic paints and gouache paints. I hope that you watched this video and that it was helpful for you. I was very happy of how gouache paints work on this paint, and I plan to do a lot more pages from this book. Some pictures here have a lot of black lines and I really wanted to cover them with something, and gouache paints will be just perfect for this purpose. I'm a huge fan of Star Trek series, so this is one of my favorite coloring books. I did only one page from Lizzie Mary Cullen's book, and this is Las Vegas from Magical Journey. I did it for the Facebook color along. It's not a very easy picture, especially for beginners, and I had some difficulties how to make all elements of this page pop up and not to be loosened on the background. I am happy with my color choices here, and I think that dark indigo background complemented the whole page and really creates the look of the evening shiny Las Vegas. I try to maintain my promise to complete this book till the end of this year, so I have to color at least one or two pages each month, and for this month I managed to do two spreads, both with very nice looking spring flowers. I like daffodils here and bluebells here. And my favorite part of the two pages are these bluebells on the left part of this page. I think that I managed to create them quite three-dimensional with a nice balance of highlights and shadows, and that I managed to catch a real color of the bluebells. I created this page for my patrons. I hope that they enjoy the detailed tutorial, but I'm also quite happy with these daffodils and crocuses. I really enjoy this book and I try to color it realistic, but sometimes it's hard to invent something new with each page when you have again violet and blue and yellow flowers, but I think that maybe with Mayflowers, where we added something pink, it will be more interesting to color. And I did my first page from the ivy. First I did the right part of this spread because I fall in love with Dragon Queen and Mouse, and when I finished it I decided that I want to finish the whole spread, and I used the same colors for the left page, and I really love how these two pages look together. I think that it's nicely balanced. You're able to see the main characters here, but in the same time page is bright but not overwhelmed, and you can see all the interesting tiny details which are so famous for Joanna's books. Next book is Magical Dawn, my favorite book by Hannah Carson so far. And here I did the Peacock Girl. And I think that this one is one of my most enjoyable and most beautiful works because I really like these color combos which I used for the feathers. You may notice that I use this color combo of aqua blue, green and violet colors a lot, but I also think that I managed to complement it with the dark background and with the magenta and golden flowers. I am still not very good at coloring faces, but I still that practice will make me better one day, and I am happy that at least now I am not afraid to color faces. This page is a mixed media because I used watercolors for the background and also pearl-shade watercolors by Fine and acrylic paints for her hair. And I really think that my best pages are made with this mixed media technique. Another example of mixed media is from Imagimorphia by Kirby Razanes, and I did the background for the panda bear using gouache paints. First I did the background and then I added mountains and some fog here. I was afraid and to color them but in the same time it was a lot of fun and I'm happy with the result, and of course my mountains are the best part of this page, but I'm also happy with the color choices. We can still see the main characters and all the main objects on the page, and the page is still not too overwhelmingly bright. Imagimorphy is one of the easiest books to color for me. First, I consider this camel as one of the best pages in this book. Next, I thought that my castle is the best page in the book. And now I don't know, maybe this one is my favorite, or maybe the panda bear. Well, I wasn't a very good girl in April. I remember that I promised to do pages from Briar and Villain and I started them, but I hadn't finished them yet. But I hope that in May I will be able to do them and to edit videos and add them to my channel. Next, I will show you my small art haul. I tried for the first time these liquid watercolors by Ecoline Royal Talents, and I also purchased couple of new colors by Van Gogh Royal Talents and by White Nights, and I was especially happy by the White Nights one pigmented watercolors. I made a separate video about this haul and about swatching these new colors, and I also did a video about watercolor for beginners where I spoke about viridian green and which colors you can get mixing viridian with other colors. So if you missed it, maybe you will be interested and I will leave you a link to it. And of course the happiest moment of the month was this beautiful gift of Caran d'Ache Neocolor water soluble pastels, and they are just amazing. Now I'm trying to learn how they behave on different kind of papers in coloring book, how they will dissolve on the smooth paper or maybe on the little bit rough paper. I think about huge background in Daria song book, in Kirby Razana's book, and I hope that using these neocolor pastels I will be able to create interesting backgrounds. So I hope that in May I will make a separate video about my experience of using them. By the way, I wanted to remind you that if you want to find a special video on my channel, and I already have a lot of videos, you can go to the section of the playlists, and I try to organize all my color along coloring tutorials under the name of each coloring book, so it will be easier for you to find the book and to find the page you want to color together with me. I decided not to do any special plans for May. First, I want to finish all my unfinished pages, which I promised to you, like Brayer, like Villain Sun, like unfinished page from Zemlya's Nova. Then I want to color a page completely with acrylic paints, so I want acrylic to be my art supply of the month. I just want to show you a small sneak peek of the projects which I prepare for the May for my Patreon page. And I also expect May to be a very special month for me because I expect to get 10,000 subscribers to my channel, and in the beginning of the June it will be my 2 years anniversary of the channel. So huge thank you to everyone who subscribed, who leave comments, who supports me, and who helps me to continue this coloring journey. Thank you, and let's start our May projects. See you and happy coloring!